gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. When the doctor goes to visit, the doctor doesn't have, when the doctor's expertise has met its limit, and when there's a patient that is struggling, that is hurting, if the doctor has a base of humility and kindness and patience and gentleness, that shines through. When you've heard the neighbor that's hurting, that's struggling, that's dying, and you go to be with that neighbor, and you don't have words, you don't have sage wisdom to offer them, but if you have kindness, gentleness, patience, humility, that shines through. As a pastor, when I go to homes that are in the midst of crisis, and if I don't have words, if I don't have analogies, if I don't have answers, but if I have patience, if I have love, if I have kindness, if I have humility, that shines through. If that is the base of how we bond with one another, if that is the base with how we reach out to other people, those virtues shine through. But a group of us went there to participate in the National Kiss-In for Marriage Equality protest in front of Chick-fil-A. People were very glad and affirmed to see the presence of the church there, and very happy to have us there. And there were others coming out of Chick-fil-A too. Probably they go to churches elsewhere or somewhere, and they wanted to start a dialogue, although it really wasn't a dialogue, it was debate. And I thought about the scripture, because the scripture has been rotating in my mind throughout this week. Humility, gentleness, patience, and love. And if I want to persuade you to something I feel that's meaningful and significant and important, I'm not going to win you to my view of things if I have prejudice or hatred or animosity. But humility, gentleness, patience, and love shine through. When somebody has those qualities rising up in them, and we're all imperfect, and we don't live these qualities the best that we can always, but if you have these desires in your life, if you have the seeds of humility, gentleness, and patience, and love, the bond of peace, these things shine through when you don't have words. These things shine through when you don't have answers for everything. These qualities are magnetic. These qualities positively attract others that value these same qualities. When we got back, the next day I received an email from a gentleman that was there standing in solidarity with others for marriage equality. And he was deeply moved when he was there. He took his picture with us, and he was just moved to tears, just so grateful that we were there. And he wrote back, he said, "Reverend Breedlove, thank you so much for joining us at Chick-fil-A yesterday. As you can tell by my emotional response, it means the world to me to have welcoming faith leaders stand with us. He lives elsewhere, or else he says that he would come to visit our loving church. At one point last night, I met a couple who volunteered to dialogue with me. And I'm always happy to do that. And so we started discussing the issues. And immediately their dialogue turned into a diatribe directed at me. The man was so angry, he was trembling, and he was saying, "Scripture is clear, your lifestyle is a sin." I pointed at your group and I said, "What about them? They stand with us." Both of them said that you were going straight to hell with us. It's not the first time somebody's told me I was going to hell. "I will never understand," he says, "how so many people can continue to use their religion to promote intolerance. And I will always appreciate those who do not." Thank you. As a Christian minister, I realize that there are people of faith on different sides of all kinds of issues. And I don't doubt the sincerity of the faith of the people going into Chick-fil-A. That's their faith, that's their meaning, that's their purpose in life, and that's for them. I have a friend that I'll be spending some time with in Denver in the next couple of days. And he comes from an evangelical persuasion, a more conservative context, but he's very bright, very very intelligent, and very tactful, very loving with these kind of conversations. That even though that if we were to talk about an issue like marriage equality, if we had different views and different understandings and different principled convictions, he would still have love, humility, and kindness where we could have a mutual, genuine dialogue. And that means a lot to me. And I know a little bit where he's been in life and where he is now. And so I trust his heart. I trust him to guard my dignity, even though we might disagree on some issues. And I hope he trusts me to guard his dignity in the same way. And I thought he had this excellent parable. He took the parable of the Good Samaritan and thinking about this Chick-fil-A issue, marriage equality issue, he took that parable of the Good Samaritan and he recrafted it. He reimagined that parable. And I want to share with you because I think that it is, if you're going to have conversations about this, genuine conversations, I think this is a good starting point. He says, there was this fast food proprietor who had traveled from Atlanta to San Francisco on business. Due to a mix-up at the airport, his flight was delayed and he arrived too late to meet his car and had to take a bus downtown. Along the way, a group of thugs saw the man as an easy target and robbed him, beat him, dumped him in the roadside ditch. He lay there, barely conscious, bleeding, nearly dead. Along came a pastor from a large, influential church in Seattle. He had come to town to debate progressive theologians from around the country and defend the accuracy and relevance of the Bible to the modern world. The restaurant owner thought, I've seen this young man's YouTube videos. He seems so upstanding and righteous. I'm sure he'll stop and help me. But the pastor was too busy to even see the bloody man lying in the ditch. The restaurant owner had almost given up hope of rescue when he saw another familiar person approaching. The congresswoman, though he disagreed with her politics, had a long-standing record of standing up for people's rights. She championed health care reform and financial support for senior citizens. Surely this woman's principles of helping the downtrodden will motivate her to rescue me, thought the restaurant owner. But the congresswoman had other business to attend to and had her assistant make a note to find a lobbyist to support legislation to help beaten half-dead men in roadside ditches. That's it, I suppose, thought the restaurant owner. I'm going to die in this ditch. Just then, a man came around the corner who was on his way to a pride parade, dressed for the occasion. The restaurant owner immediately recognized that the man was gay, and he closed his eyes in resignation. He won't help me, the restaurant owner thought, finally passing out. But the homosexual saw him lying in the ditch and recognized him. That's the restaurant owner who opposes gay marriage. How did he get down there? Looking around, the gay man realized that there was no one to help the injured man. Compassion stirred in his heart, and he took pity on the restaurant owner, lifting him up out of the ditch and carrying him to a nearby hospital. At the hospital, there was a question of the restaurant owner's identity. Did he have insurance? Who would be responsible to pay for his care? The homosexual didn't know any of these answers, but he signed the papers and told them that he would take care of all the expenses related to the restaurant owner's treatment. He left them his credit card number and went on to the parade. Which person was the neighbor to the restaurant? The parable asks. Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.